how do we grapple with it if we make the leap that we've got President Trump in for 3.5 more years, and you're seeing a Republican Party just throwing solar and kicking it and dumping on it? How does a momentum for solar grow in the popular imagination? And many young people who were climate activists are feeling very despondent right now, feeling like it's hard to move the ball up the mountain because it's like Job, coming right back down on them. How do you light the fuses and excitement of people?
More than anything, that's why I wrote this book, to try and get people to understand the incredibly ripe moment that we have. That's why we're doing this big Sunday thing, Christ the King Lutheran, 2 to 4 p.m. on September 21st, precisely to try and build that kind of enthusiasm around the country. Obviously, we're not going to do anything in Washington, at least for the next 18 months and probably for the next 3 years. That means that we're going to have to do a lot at the state and local level, and happily there's a lot we can do at the state and local level. So think for a minute about rooftop and home solar. It's about 1/3 of the clean energy business. Let's leave aside the solar farms and things for a minute. Just think about your home. It costs 3 times as much to put solar on your roof in this country as it does in Australia or the EU. A little bit of that's the tariffs on panels. Mostly that's the incredible cost of bureaucracy. Every municipality, and we have 15,000 in this country, has its own set of rules for this. They all have their own teams of inspectors. It takes weeks, usually months, to get this done. In the rest of the world, it's a matter of 3 or 4 days. We can solve this problem. The National Renewable Energies Lab put out a thing called the Solar App Plus a few years ago. It allows for essentially instant permitting. A contractor just types in what equipment he's putting on what address, the computer checks a database, if it looks good, up on the roof they go and set to work. That'll drive the cost down considerably. California, Maryland, and New Jersey have mandated it, so the rest of the country should too. Even better, even more beautiful example, and we were talking about this at the Chronicle earlier today, is this stuff that we're calling balcony solar. All over Europe in the last 3 years, millions and millions of people have gone to their local I don't know what you call Best Buy, in Europe, but that's where they've gone and come home with a solar panel that not for the roof, just with hooks on it that you hang over the railing on an apartment balcony or on a front porch. And it just has a normal plug that you stick in the wall. You don't need to rewire anything. You don't have to call the electrician, but you're often producing 20%, 25% of the power that you use for a few $100s worth of solar panel. That's illegal everywhere in the US, except in that progressive bastion, the state of Utah, where legislators earlier this year, by unanimously in both houses of the legislature, passed enabling legislation for it because some state senator stood up and said, look, my fellow Utahns, if this is good enough for Hamburg, it's good enough for Provo, and then there are now, you can go on YouTube and find lots of pictures of smiling Utahns putting up their balcony solar. It's a good reminder that this cuts ideologically in ways that are, for my money, you're the preeminent American historian of our time. I think one of the things that's interesting about solar is the fact that, yes, good progressives like the idea that we're fighting climate change with the groovy power of the sun. But I've lived on dirt roads my whole life, some in red states and some in blue. And I have lots of very Trumpy neighbors. There are Trump flags flying, and a lot of them have solar panels on the roof. And the reason is, when I talk to my friends, my house is my castle. I'm going to defend it with my AR-15, and now I have an independent power supply for my castle, you know? And you know what? I'm enough of an American that I recognize that impulse in myself too. I mean, not the AR-15 part so much, but my house is my castle, and I love the fact that it's, you know, that I can power it myself.